I now invite Joan Burton to close the case for the proposition.
First of all, thank you for the invitation to be here tonight. This is the 100th year since women in Ireland got the vote, and I'm glad to say that the first woman who became a member of the House of Commons, she didn't take her seat, but she was Countess Markievicz from Sligo in Ireland. Mount Rushmore in the Black Hills of Dakota has the sculptures of famous American presidents carved into the rock face. Perhaps in the future, Ireland will create its own Mount Rushmore to celebrate the pioneers of national reunification. Some surprising figures from England might rank as worthy candidates for inclusion. These are the people whose actions became victims of that notorious beast of political life, the law of unintended consequences. So step forward, Mr. Nigel Farage, the great panjandrum of Brexit. His referendum has set the different parts of the United Kingdom on an internal collision course and opened up the age-old argument that England's difficulty is Ireland's opportunity. Surely, too, Mr. Boris Johnson, a former president of this august union, has a good claim as an architect of Ireland's reunification. His overweening, his bumptious ambition has fueled the flames of English nationalism to the point that the word united could be excised from the name United Kingdom, only to be transferred across the Irish Sea to find a happy home in the words, Ireland United. There is now a new truth in Anglo-Irish politics, quietly but universally acknowledged. England's Brexiteers, all of them, as far as I know, proud unionists in name, have done more to advance the case for a united Ireland than the IRA achieved in 3 decades of sordid, violent terrorism. In Ireland, we watch every day the unfolding of Brexit with macabre fascination. The underlying dynamic comes from a resurgent English nationalism that is blithely insensitive to the concerns of the other components of the United Kingdom. We wonder about the scale of collateral damage that may be inflicted on Ireland North and South. It may well lead all sections of society in Northern Ireland to question the value of a union that cannot offer any long-term assurance of respect, let alone prosperity and stability. Equally, we hear with apprehension the siren calls of national extremists that England's time of difficulty is their moment of opportunity. I come from an Irish socialist tradition that despised the partition of Ireland because, as James Connolly predicted, it would result in a carnival of reaction, a destructive division, and sectarian hostility. We know that sectarian division continues to leave its trail of destruction. So let me say that my advocacy of a united Ireland has no truck with any sectarian headcount. Some forensically examine each census for evidence of a Catholic nationalist majority emerging that will in time produce a vote for a united Ireland. In my view, that attitude really comes from the same Boris Johnson school of political tactics that seeks a simple numerical majority for a political outcome with no care or consideration for its long-term consequences, intended or otherwise. That latent sectarian calculation is both wrong-headed and irresponsible. It's wrong-headed because the evidence that a Catholic majority in the north of Ireland is self-evidently a majority for unification. It's paltry, to say the least. For one thing, religious allegiance is no barometer anymore of all political outlook. The census numbers, both north and south, show declining adherence to the traditional faith allegiances. Indeed, in the Irish Republic, a majority of voters in 2 recent referendums have delivered a stinging rebuke to cardinals and bishops on the issues of same-sex marriage and abortion rights. The days that Rome rule, or home rule, meant Rome rule, they're well and truly gone, let me tell you. There is a time-worn political gag in Northern Ireland and the Republic about a citizen's reply to a census official. The reply, "I'm an atheist," immediately produces a supplementary question, which everybody here knows. Well, are you a Catholic atheist or are you a Protestant atheist? Sadly, that attitude is more deeply entrenched than is often admitted. During one recent UK election, a Sinn Féin candidate made a fairly shameful sectarian pitch through a notorious leaflet declaring that Catholics are now in the majority in this constituency. Catholic, 46.9%, Protestant, 45.6%. Make the change, make history. That individual failed to get elected, but his pitch does still reflect the underlying message of his party's current campaign for an early border poll. Thankfully, the Good Friday Agreement of 1998 offers us both safeguards and a roadmap to enable the delicate issues to be teased out and resolved. It is, I believe, important that people in the UK fully appreciate what is bluntly stated in that document. There was derision in Ireland when Mr. Boris Johnson, him again, remarked that the border between 2 parts of Ireland is no different to the border between Camden and Islington. I mean, you know, we really have to ask ourselves. In fact, the Good Friday Agreement says the exact opposite, which is why it offers the roadmap of a post-Brexit settlement, because it is absolutely based on the consent of the people of Ireland alone. And the clause that clause alone sets Northern Ireland miles apart from Camden, Islington, or Oxford. Moreover, it offers a clear and a peaceful mechanism to fundamentally change the constitutional status of Northern Ireland. What is at issue now is the manner by which that mechanism, that includes a so-called border poll, should be put to use. I believe it would be destructive and premature to rush this in a manner that might deepen community divisions. And I share the concerns of the opposition. Any of you who've seen Spielberg's movie, Abraham Lincoln, there's a scene where Lincoln remarks, and I always love this, he remarks that he well knows where his true north is and where he wants to bring his country. But he has to have regard to the rivers, mountains, and swamps that have to be navigated on that journey. We in Ireland have to be equally careful and wary of how we navigate our way. An excess of zeal may very well destroy the very thing that we most desire. The kind of unity Ireland needs as has been said, is the unity of people rather than the simple delusion of a united territory. We amended our own constitution. We did this by a massive vote to set aside the claim to territorial unity and replaced it with an ambition of a united people in all the diversity of their identities and traditions. That's what we've already voted for. So be clear. I loved Mike saying John Hewitt's famous quote about being an Ulsterman, British, Irish, and European. Anyone who demeans any one part of me demeans me as a person. That is the sentiment, and I agree with Mike, that we need to keep in mind in these troubled times. Thank you.